Hello, happy people. I hope you are having an absolutely amazing and astounding day, the best day you've ever had in your entire life. For you folks, if not, I hope it will be by the time the day's over with. Alright, so today I wanted to do a review of a shorter novel. It's 186 pages long. I knocked it out when I was a kid. I bought it from a book fair. This is my copy of it. It's called Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. LeGuin's. So I bought this at a book fair in southern West Virginia. Read it pretty quickly back in the early era. It's written more for older kids and so forth, but I've been reading some fantasy stuff. I just knocked out H.P. Lovecraft's J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, and then Lord of the Rings, and then the next thing I went to was Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Song, Dragon Sing, Dragon Jumpers, which is also meant for people more my age, like The Hobbit. And then I read Fred Saberhagen's The Complete Book of Swords, and then with other things. I picked this up at the book fair. I read it a little bit fast, that sort of a thing. My dad had the rest of the series, so I actually never bought the rest of the series. He saw that I was reading it, so he's like, I got that. So I just read the rest of the series with his stuff, little lots, that sort of thing. I thought it would be fun for me to knock it out. I took this with me to go interview for a job down south, and I thought it would be fun for me to have it with myself, and I knocked out 144 pages of it by the time I got back, and then the rest of it the next day, a couple of days ago. So there we are. So let's go ahead and give myself my review. This will be spoiler free and so forth. I love the ending, I love the setup, how it surprises you, that sort of thing. But I do like it. I think it's strong stuff. So basically the idea here is that our key character, I'll give you the first, is named Ged. He's from a small little rural island in Earthsea of Gaunt, the region of Gaunt, and that sort of thing. He grows up there. His aunt, his mother died at childbirth, so he never had a softer hand raising him, and that sort of a thing. So his aunt realizes him at a very young age is somebody who has power because he uses one of her spells. That's all about charming goats. The charm goats so well that they can't leave him, right? Even though he doesn't understand this spell. She realizes he's going to be a very, very strong wizard. So she begins to take him under his wing in the first chapter, and then he will, while under his wing, they will be attacked by pirates and raiders and that sort of a thing, and then they will attack the Gaunts and that sort of a thing, and he only survived, and his people too, by combining two spells into one that creates a mist that will confuse one another, that will invisible him too, and that sort of a thing. So he actually he does a spell to save everybody, and now he's to talk to the town and the region, because Gaunt is very proud about their wizards. They think they're a great place for wizards. So a wizard's going to come to him named Ogian. That'll be his master, second chapter, and so forth. And we'll realize very early on he's not really a good fit for Ogian. Eventually he's going to wind up in a mage school in the third chapter, and in the third chapter at that mage school, he's going to wind up with a rival named Jasper, and then my favorite character, his best friend, Fortis for your folks. Love him lots, that sort of a thing. And so there you are. So basically, so the idea of a young, gifted wizard going to school with a best friend and a rival and that sort of thing definitely feels very influential. It's the first one that happened like this. It was published in the 60s, and that sort of thing. This sort of created this idea of the opportunities, that sort of a thing, of having that, a boy at a school, and that sort of thing that you can definitely see in J.K. Rowling, and then through her, because of how popular her stuff was, with later things. I just wish that some of the people that were talking about the J.K. Rowling stuff, or herself, were a little more nice about saying, yeah, Ursula K. did it first, right? Yeah. She did it first. Heavily influential too. Anyway, so her stuff is published in the late 60s or earlier. This novel, Wizard of Earthsea, it's published a year before The Left Hand Darkness. I put it on a map in a major way. It was a first fantasy and first young adult thing. She wrote it for older kids, like my age when I was reading it. Probably a little young at the time in fourth. I was probably like 6th grade. I probably wasn't that old yet, but you get the idea. But yeah, so basically the idea here is that it was a very, very strong world building, strong stories, strong love of it, and so forth. It's definitely well written. The first people that really sort of saw this as a major thing was actually Britain in the UK as a children's thing, because they probably have a history of children's fantasy, like the aforementioned Hobbits or C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia. They definitely had this sort of an affectation for kids stuff. This is a little older, but you get the ideas. So they're probably a little more open to it. And they're regularly having this being read to kids, or having it checked out in kid libraries and that sort of thing. They're pushing this forward. They're definitely really, really loving this stuff out there for you folks. And then the next place that sort of appreciated it was Fantasy Fiends in the US, and that sort of thing. And so you can definitely see us as more embracing it and that sort of thing. But it took us a little bit to get past, it's for kids. But the ideas are timeless. The wording in it's not written. Yeah, you might start with that, but once you get past that, I think the ideas, the concepts are definitely timeless. Sure, it might feel, but because it's a coming of age story for Get and starts in a novel as a kid and he winds up as 19, right? I mean, it's a coming of age story, right? So you might feel, but once you start to get into it, it's a timeless it's a shorter novel for you to read it. I liked it a lot. So going back to it, I'm going to tell you something that's probably going to offend a lot of people. But her first child's novel, and the rest of this stuff, it's just so much more richly and well written, I think, than C.S. Lewis's was. Sorry, Chronicles of Narnia fans. I've read the Chronicles of Narnia for this channel. It was read to me as a kid, but it just doesn't feel as strongly written. I know it's coming from a place of love, and the people really, really love their Chronicles of Narnia. No offense intended, but this feels like it's the better written novel. Right, she'd already been writing by this time novels. She'd been writing science fiction. She turned her hand to this. This is her first fantasy novel, first kids novel. You can definitely tell that it's definitely coming from somebody who really has toned their craft down and such. This is definitely a strong novel. The world building that she does here is so great, so strong. All the characters have different flashes and that sort of thing. And it's also, and the guy, the lead protagonist is the male. Get is actually not a white person. He's got reddish brown skin. So that's cool too. Now I do want to push back on her a little bit. This is probably something of her time and that sort of thing. But all of her characters, there are women that are magic users here too. They are here too, but they tend to be either petty or evil. There aren't really any women wizards that are good people, right? They're not in the school. They don't mention that there's the school for boys. There's also school for girls too, on the same place or in the same area, right? For them to interact with. All the women here have matriarchal roles and that sort of thing. Now, I'm sure, right? Defenders are going to say, and they probably should, it's of its time, right? But I would have hoped that that women here would have had, it's our own world, all right? She can definitely go to a world where women have more of a less matriarchal sort of things, where they're making the food and and doing all the baby stuff, being nice to their kids, all the sorts of things, right? Or not even being wizards, but just evil or vain witches. All right, and not really the sort of evolved, right, and have fleshed out roles, right, because it's heroic and create the way she wants, right. So why is that the case? I don't know. So I'm going to push back on that a little, just as a heads up. Now, I totally still think it's worth reading. I still think it's an absolute classic of classics, but just go into that mind. Alrighty, and so there you are. So that is my 10 out of 10, absolute classic. I love it lots. I go back and revisit it again. That sort of a thing while I was flying. Fun stuff. But again, I don't own the rest. I could buy them, but I don't own the rest of these. So there you are. That's a Wizard of Earthsea for you folks by Ursula K. From the late 60s for you folks. An absolute classics, heavily influential. Love it lots. I love the ending too. No spoilers, but I love the ending, and I wish that the places that retell this story would have kept to it. Love the shadow of all that stuff. All right, so there you are. So those are my quick thoughts on that novel for you folks. Have you read it? And if so, what did you think about it? Did you agree or disagree about 10 out of 10? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are. Lots. And there you are. And, you know, if you like this, I have done all of Ursula K. I've done a bunch of Ursula K's short stories, if you like her stuff. If you want to check those out, many of those are sci-fi or fantasy. One of those was actually in Earthsea before Earthsea was published. True Name, for example. So that's good stuff, and if you like lots. Then also, you can also check out some of my reviews of her stuff, like Lift Into Darkness, or one of my favorite novels. Actually, yeah, I think it's probably better than this one. I don't know that actually is. That's a Lady of Heaven. It was a novel that I wanted to read before. It was on my bucket list, or what I call my don't list. Right? You would call your bucket list, right? So yeah, so I read it, love it lots. Heavy stuff, great stuff. So that's also the Lady of Heaven too. So you can check out those things, and then also, you know, my channel likes to do reviews of these older works in this era of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Two of those are her genres. Horror too, right? Like stuff like that too. So if you like that, definitely hit the watch more of my stuff. Hit the like button and the subscribe button, and then if you're feeling frisky, the bell icon to be notified of this stuff. Then let your friends know, and also share it with your stuff too, and just watch. Right, that's the key part of how just watch them, that sort of thing. Alrighty, there you are. I want to, you know, the name of this channel, The Worst Thing About New Books, it's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Chappelle, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? Definitely some older stuff out there. That's pretty good stuff for you folks. But, you know, we might have forgotten about it in our passion for pursuing the new movie, the new novel, right? The new game and such. So I like to do reviews of all these older things for you folks. Alrighty, there you are. And thank you so very, very much for taking some time out of your day and investing in watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening, right, in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions, right? So the fact that you spend this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. And thanks again, and have an amazing day.